Welcome back to another Smoky and the Bourbon. I'm Andy. Today we're going to take a look at one of the best double oak bourbons that you've probably never heard of. What is that bottle? That is the double oaked bottle by NULU. While it's distilled from MGP, it's then blended, bottled, and finished out in Kentucky. Let's open it up and let's explore a few of the secrets that's been hidden from you. As discussed in our NULU and Barana review, NULU spirits are distilled by Prohibition Craft Spirits, or PCS, out of Louisville, Kentucky. Perhaps similar to one of my other favorite offerings, E.H. Taylor, the man behind the brand, Keith Hazelbaker, was a certified financial planner turned distiller. The brand NULU stands for New Louisville, which is an homage to the downtown neighborhood where many of the legacy distilleries have showrooms, including Evan Williams, Jim Beam, Angel's Envy, Michter's, Old Forester, and so on. Now, this particular expression is a bottle with some big, bold, rich flavors. It's aged for 5 years, and then this particular version is finished for an additional 22 months inside of that secondary barrel. Now, the MSRP with this being a limited release is about $85 to about $110, but I was able to, during a closeout special at one of my local liquor shops, shout out to Randall's, was able to snag this for about $40. So this puts it just roughly below the MSRP of the more traditional double oaked, which is by Woodford Reserve. However, the thing that this has going differently for it is that it's bottled at 120 proof rather than Woodford's 90. Now, as you might expect, with that 120 proof versus the 90, it really just lends itself to a whole nother layer of flavor, really just a richness that you don't get from the 90 proof of Woodford, but it's a classic. Now, $40 for a store pick is a pretty great price point. So I take that into account a little bit as we compare that to maybe the more traditional Woodford Reserve. As we take a look in, we're going to explore some of those deep, dark flavors. And we'll talk a little bit about it. What does it smell like? What does it taste like? And we'll go from there. As you pour that glass and you swirl it around a little bit, what you'll notice is that you get some pretty thick, viscous legs that come down on the glass, really just speaking to the richness of the bourbon inside. On the nose, you really get a lot of almost like a rich vanilla, almost like a vanilla bean, like a creme brulee, a little bit of like a banana-y kind of flavor. Licorice, not the sweet red kind, but more of like the kind of bittery black licorice, and really just get a little bit of cherry, kind of a nuttiness in there as well, and obviously oak, plenty of oak, double of the oak, if you will. On that first sip, you get a lot of think of almost like a s'more. With a cherry thrown in the middle there. You get those cherry flavors. You get kind of that dark red fruit, but then you get that marshmallowy, a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of that kind of that graham cracker. Again, s'mores. But you get a lot of those flavors on that first sip. On that second sip, you get a lot more of the oak, just really oak forward, keeping around that cherry. Get a little bit more of that charred flavor. Again, kind of that charred marshmallow, charred vanilla. Just really, really rich, really, really good. On that finish, again with that kind of that viscosity to it. On that sip, it really just completely coats your tongue, leaves a nice little warmth. Not too much on the ethanol, and there's not too much burn to it. It really just feels like a good warmth around your mouth, kind of like if you're sitting around a campfire, or as I like to say, the good old Kentucky hug. So as far as this double oaked offering goes, I love this bottle. I'm a big fan of NULU. I've enjoyed all of their different expressions that I've tried so far, and I keep looking out for some of the new ones that we unfortunately just don't get here in Missouri yet. But in the grand scheme of double oaks, if you can find this bottle at or below MSRP, I certainly think it's worth it. Either you're ready for greatness or you settle for some of the other more low cost alternatives. That being said, if you ever find it at what I paid for it, buy two, because at $40, why not? Now, comparing this to the Woodford Double Oak, again, that is the classic double oaked flavor. It's very approachable at that 90 proof. Where do I slot this in comparison to that bottle? I would have this probably, because of price, at the very least even. I think that this has a little bit more depth of flavor. It's a little bit more complex. But you can't go wrong with Woodford Double Oaked. It's the classic double oaked bourbon, and outside of maybe a Old Forester 1910, I don't know that you're going to find a more rich version of a double oaked offering. So, with that, let me know in the comments, what do you think about NULU? What do you think about their double oaked? What's your favorite line that they have out right now? And where do you stack this up against any of the other double oaks that you've had? Hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Drop a like, drop a follow. Keep an eye out for the rest of the stuff that we've got going on here at Smokey and the Bourbon. And keep an eye out. Next week we will have Meat Monday again. And until then, cheers.